Your latest CD is called Could Have Been King.
Yeah, it's latest.
Why would you want to be Bill?
Why would I want to be Bill King?
There's a positive side
It
to that.
is dedicated to Bill King, actually, yes.
It's the first one.
Yeah, yeah.
Since the Celine Dion one she did.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Titanic.
That's right.
Now, our previous
King of the
guest,
world.
Alan Zweig, you know him very well.
Yeah. Alan Zweig and I go way, way back. His brother, Michael, who did the music for Alan's latest film, is one of my best friends, a dear friend, and we were roommates for a couple of years and had a couple of adventures during that time. And he actually plays on this record and sings on it. So on this record, which you generously call my latest record, it's from 2004. But it is my latest record. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter when it's from.
Yeah. No, I'm working on a new one.
For 2014.
2000. Well, yeah, actually, 2014. I'm going to have
Every 10 years.
every
ladies and
10 years,
gentlemen.
no matter whether people want it or not. I'm going to make another CD.
Did you mention that he and Bob coast in the studio?
We didn't get that far, but
Saturday.
you
Then
come
you
in,
came
you
in,
interrupted
that's
us.
why-
You
That's
came in
why
and
you're-
ruined
Yeah,
everything.
you ruined the whole day.
That's why you're not the host of the show, you see.
We weren't there yet. We
No.
were working our way
We
there.
barely had time.
Yeah.
It says here, and
Yes.
this is pretty impressive,
Yes, because I think I wrote it myself.
singer, songwriter, guitarist, composer, producer, engineer, writer, broadcaster, and educator.
This is all true. Yeah. How do I wear so many hats? That's the question. I have to, though, because of the thinning hairline.
Do you teach?
I teach at Seneca College. Actually, I teach songwriting, which every time I say that to people, they look at me like, how do you do that? And I'm not quite sure.
Which campus?
York.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went to Seneca College, the King campus.
Ah, there you go. Yes.
Notice I didn't say graduate.
That's right.
I just went.
Weren't you also at Radio Varsity at U of T?
No.
Oh, I thought you were.
Christ, they wouldn't let me in there. Sorry, was that blasphemous?
Pretty much.
I didn't mean it. Well, then edit it.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
Uh-oh. No one's told him it's live. It's live radio.
What? No, they wouldn't let me there.
No.
Well, but Humber has a comedy course.
Yeah.
You think, how do you teach comedy?
Yeah, it's true. I
Have
know.
you taken any of the classes yet, Ted?
No.
Any thoughts?
I don't go to school anymore. I have dreams occasionally that
Well, they have
I'm
night classes.
still in school and go,
Yeah.
good.
You know what I've been dreaming about lately? Seriously, I've had two dreams about Rob Ford, which I think says something about my obsession.
Were
with
you sweating?
the current situation? Well, in one of them, I was Rob Ford. That's the funny
Okay.
thing. I was Rob Ford, sweating, and it was really odd.
Right.
It was very odd.
You walk into a camera or anything?
Yeah, no, and it's funny. It's one of those dreams where nothing really happened. I just sort of woke up and thought, oh my God, I was
Yeah,
Rob
but that's
Ford.
the medication because you had that accident.
I had a
recently, right?
motorcycle accident, yes.
And you think it's a medication?
I think it is the medication.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that. Yeah, I do.
What happened anyway?
I was driving down the Gardner Expressway, going to a studio to produce some stuff, because that's one of the many things I do.
I see that.
And
That's number 4.
yeah, I believe that's number 4 on the list. I was heading down the Gardner Expressway, coming down the Parkway onto the expressway, right near the Jarvis-Sherburne ramp. There was someone stopped in the right-hand lane. Stopped, and they weren't in distress. Well, they were going very, very slowly. I think they were thinking, I don't want to exit here, and it was a right lane must exit part. And so I think they're going to make their way over to the left side.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, and so I hit the brakes, and I think it was just at the moment. I think there was something on the road because nobody hit me, nobody cut me off. There was no collision. Nobody else was involved. Suddenly, I found myself sliding along the highway at 70 or 80 kilometers an hour.
What were you wearing? Like, were you wearing like
That's
leather?
personal.
No. What were you wearing? Like
I was
leather?
wearing a Teddy. No,
A Teddy.
I was wearing a Merry Widow and garter belt and stockings.
I'm glad I finished digesting that food.
And this was a Vespa, right?
No, this was a real bike. I bought a real
okay.
bike. It's no offense to Vespa owners because I love my Vespa, but it's a Honda. It's 1,300 cc's. It's a big bike.
Right.
My inexperience as a rider probably contributed to this. Although I think if I had hit the front brakes too hard, I would have gone over instead of slid. I don't know why I slid, but I started sliding about 100 feet. And to your question, I was wearing not the armor that I should have been wearing for a big bike like that. I was wearing a couple of nylon jackets, like a few layers. But sliding along the road, it ate through those jackets really fast.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I have some big road rash.
What was the extent of your injuries?
It was a miracle. The extent of my injuries is this: road rash on my left side and some bruising. I have an ache in my chest where I think maybe a rib was bruised, and gout. That's the weird part.
Gout?
Gout. I know.
Highway gout.
Highway. Haven't you heard of highway gout?
Were you licking the pavement on the way down?
It's a rich man's disease. No, I've been prone to gout in the past, although I really rarely get an attack. And then,
And where does it hit? Your big toe?
yeah, exactly, on my right
Wow.
foot. When there's trauma, and the bike pulled away from me because it was a lot heavier than I am, so it went another 25 feet or so, and I guess my leg got caught or something, and I didn't remember it. Because when I got up after the accident, and of course I was in shock and so forth, but I stood up, I walked without limping or anything. But it was 2 days later that the gout really, really hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, I had already been to the hospital, and they said, no, they did x-rays and everything, and I was fine. So this pain was, to me, was inexplicable. When I went back to my doctor, he had me re-x-rayed, and then he said, I'm sorry, it's gout. And
You know what you didn't explain was the fact that as you had this accident, as you were getting up,
yeah.
you pulled out your iPad and you wrote about it on Facebook.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was 14 seconds after the
Yeah,
accident.
well, I had to go to Facebook, and because I like to share my troubles on Facebook.
People sitting there at home, wherever they are, and they're listening to the program going, well, so what does he do for a living?
Yeah.
Other than his crash motorcycles?
That's not on his list.
Yeah. What do you have a preference with writing
what I-
songs, singing, composing, producing?
Yeah, I do. Well, preference is hard. If I had to pick one, I don't know which one I'd pick. I write music.
The
for
one that
film.
makes the most money.
Yeah, well, writing for music and television, writing music for film and television is the thing that makes me the most money.
Yeah.
And but it's a bit of a tough gig, and like just getting work. The business has been shrinking and so forth. I like doing that a lot. I like writing songs. I think the thing I like most is playing live, playing songs. I just play my songs acoustically, and I love doing that.
Mm-hmm. You did some work for the Sports Network?
Yeah, tons of work for TSN, yeah. Over the 90s, the course of the 90s. There was a hockey theme that ran for 7 years, that when I would meet a hockey fan, I would go, da-na, ba-da-na-da, da-na, ba-da-na-da-da, and they'd go, that's you? So, that was the extent of my fame in the 90s.
And you've worked with a lot of really high-end people, including Bob Ezrin.
Yes, yeah, Bob Ezrin produced my band years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legendary.
Yes,
Bob Ezrin.
yes. He'd just finished, at that point, producing The Kings, their song Switch into Glide. But before that, he'd done Pink Floyd. He'd done
Wall?
The Wall, yeah, and Alice Cooper and Rod Stewart, all kinds of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
was he like to work with?
Oh, he was great, but he had grandiose visions. And I mean that in a good way, actually. He looked at our band photo before we had met. He gave me a phone call. First, he called me to say, listen, I got your package. I haven't opened it, haven't listened to it yet. I just want you to know I don't like most things that come my way. And I thought, wow, he's calling me to tell me in advance that he's probably not going to like it, which is kind of amazing.
Well, it's honest.
Yeah, and I didn't know him. I was so thrilled to talk to him. And then he called back maybe a week later, and he said, I listened to the stuff. I really like it a lot, but I have a question for you. Which one are you? Because there was a photograph of the band in the package. And I said, I'm the big guy. And he said, oh, thank goodness. I said, why? He said, because if you weren't the lead singer, we'd have to fire you because you wouldn't fit. You look different from all those other guys. But since you're the lead singer, we can make something out of that. And he had this plan that was
Sounds
gonna
like Simon Cowell.
Yeah, well, he had an idea for the image of
Right.
the
With
band.
manners.
Yeah, with manners.
With
Exactly.
manners.
Yeah.
Blair-Packham is our guest. We're back in a moment with more 146 right now. Newstalk 1010 time saver traffic.